Peace, family. This is Fleur Boone coming to today with another topic of discussion. So check on in. I'm gonna wait for you guys to check in so I can start the conversation. And yes, I have new glasses, and I will tell you what they do. And these actually work, and I don't know why they work. They're kind of like John Lennon's, and I know they're really weird. And I like to, I'm a geek, and I like to wear like weird. Well, just, I like to see the other entities. So I got these owl glasses. Peace, Carlos. And they may look a little strange, but I'm in the AT community. Please don't judge me too harshly. So listen, let's get into the topics. Very relative today. Peace. Oh my gosh. It's so different. You guys check in a lot quicker. I'm trying to keep the camera up high. Behave myself today. Anyway, so peace, family. This is Fleur Boone coming to you today to discuss another topic of discussion. Hey, Sandrine. Hey, Jamie. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you see stars will be at a pool. Just put it in your mind and manifest it. I'm home. But listen, the shades. Let me talk about the shades before I go into the hybrid children. The shades I got from this odd company. They're like some obscure company, and I really, I had a friend who was into, wearing like the cobalt mixed with the red, like the 3D glasses piece. So he's obsessed, and he's, I'm geeky, but he's way to the geek level. So he would go out in like these weird 3D glasses with like the blue and red, and he would tell me he would see things. So listen, I did the blue cobalt glasses, and I can literally say I spent a lot of money on cobalt glasses, the blue ones, and I've spent very little on the cobalt glasses. And I will say to you that they didn't do anything. I kind of thought I saw something with the with the less expensive ones, but it didn't source out. Now these, I wore them today. I just got them delivered. It was yesterday, and I didn't want to put them on until I had, I don't want to do that with my little people, because, I don't want them to follow some of mommy's cues. I do things, but I want them to have some form of normality, especially if they have to enter into the matrix. So I wore these today, and I will tell you, family, I don't know what it does. It gives you a little bit of a headache. Hey, Entitled Sensei. It gives you a little bit of a headache, but it makes you, you know how they always talked about, these are called rosés. You know how they used to talk about, hey, Maximus? I have a crush on Maximus. Anyway, listen, don't tell anyone. I'm going to try to behave today. So you know how they always tell you take off your rosy colored glasses because you see things differently? It's a fact. Like, it literally changes everything. Like, I'm looking at the colors seem the colors seem more phantasmic, and I'm telling you, I saw a little hybrid baby. That's why I'm having this discussion right now. I was in Whole Foods, getting some of my, they have like, this no meat thing, and hamburgers. And it's really great, soy free, GMO free, no egg, vegan. It's thebomb.com and integrity written ingredients. I sidebar all the time because I'm about this life. So anyway, I put these glasses on, and I'm walking through Whole Foods. I saw this little hybrid little boy. Now, literally, I thought, sometimes I'll think I'm cuckoo for cocoa. I have to make sure I have my rationality and I'm sane, because in the insane world of the Matrix, a lot of things will seem out beyond beef. Thank you, Kush Cloud. A lot of things will make you question your sanity, literally. And you guys are about this life, so you already know. Sometimes you'll see things with the reptilian when the guy shape-shifted and his shoulders got broad with the little square scales on him. The first time I broke the code, that flipped me out. The woman with the really bright blue eyes that was all blue like Charlotte's Web spider, that flipped me out. But with these, I saw a hybrid child in Whole Foods, and I tried not to stare at him because it freaked me out a little bit. I will say, hey Animal from Dubai. So listen, it freaked me out a little bit. And I had to get my composure because I didn't know what I was seeing was rational, because I was going over to the aisle where they had water, right? So I'm walking through, and I'm looking at a little boy, and he's walking, and he walks to the side, and his eyes are he's a loner, but his eyes are really, really black. So I thought to myself, I'm feeling something. The glasses make you feel a certain way too. It makes you feel very, I don't know, it's almost like I feel dreamy. And it could just be the color of the red making everything that hue, but it doesn't happen with the blue. So I'm walking around, I see him, and I'm following him with my eyes. I'm trying not to be creepy about it, because, you know, there's a lot of pedophiles in this world, and I want to make sure the parents feel safe, that I'm not creeping. And I'm watching him, and he looks at me real intensely, and I could feel him in my mind, and my third eye starts to pulsate. I was like, oh my God, he's a hybrid. That's one of them. And he was talking to me in my head. I couldn't hear it. I could hear like buzzing, but this was pulsating. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I can't stare at him long. Like I said, we live in a pedophile propagated world. As a mother, I wouldn't want someone staring at my child too long. So I had to turn away and then wait and kind of, you know, move my cart. That's why, listen, this is why it's hard for me to date. Because who wants to date a woman who wears rose glasses to see aliens and hybrids, and then obsesses with seeing them in the grocery store and tries to hide following them? So anyway, I go around the corner. You know how I do it. If many of you see me, you already see me doing stuff like this. Many of my soccer moms, they already know what I do. They accept me for who I am in all my strangeness, and I'm grateful. I love you, Sea Stars, for loving me, even and letting your children play with mine, even though you think I'm very different. So anyway, I'm following him, and I noticed that his hair, he has like an antenna. I'm serious, family. I'm saying, listen, I have my coffee today. I do. I'm good. He had like an antenna, like popped out of his head here. Now I'm thinking to myself, is that just his hair? So I try to look at these Worcestershire sauces that are soy free. I have, my little one likes this on her spinach, so I have to get this 365. You know, the only person who carries it without soy is Whole Foods. Big up to Whole Foods, even though they're the devil. They're sleeping with them on Santo, but I have to get certain things because they have it. Anyway, so I'm walking to get the Worcestershire sauce that has no soy sauce, and this little boy's walking, and he looks like he has antennas. So I was like, is that his hair? And I walk up close, and it looks like it moves. So I step back. I nearly fell. I look crazy at this point, and I stopped. And I kind of just went about my business, obsessing with this, and thinking to myself, it was meant for me to see this today. And as I'm walking around, I'm getting a little dizzy. These glasses are making me dizzy. I feel auras around me. I don't see them, but I feel auras around me. These glasses work. So I have to give a big up to the glasses. You know, I should be their PRET person, because I give props to these glasses. Even now, I feel like I can feel your auras through it. It's very strange. And they're kind of cute, right? They're kind of, I like them a little bit. They're a little, you know, somewhat, they're somewhat kind of cute, right? In a very geeky kind of weird way. If I was on a beach, it'd be more, but I'm at the pool, so, you know, but out in the world, it looks a little weird. You know, I feel very John Lennon like. Remember John? Now listen, family, and this is what I thought too before I get into hybrids. You know, I'm sidebarring. I'm excited because these glasses worked, and I saw the little boy who's a hybrid who looked like he had an antenna, and it was moving. Like I said, I had my coffee today, so I'm rational. I really am. I have to say this, but it looked like he had an antenna. But remember, John Lennon used to wear all these different kind of glasses. We thought it was just like a fashion statement, but maybe there was a purpose for this, because the roses work. These and guess what the company's name is? Owl. And they weren't expensive. I don't think I spent, I don't know. How much did I spend on these glasses? They're called Owl. The company's called Owl. Now listen, owls are also, remember, code for grays. Remember I told you see owls? Owls, sometimes the grays will shapeshift and look like an owl. Remember? So they're called Owl. The company's called Owl, and that's why I got it from them, because it was another ET source that said these glasses can make you see and feel things. But I'm feeling things, and I saw something right away where the blue cobalt, I have to say, they didn't make me see anything, but I saw a hybrid child today. Literally. He saw me too. He was in my head a little bit. I couldn't hear, it was like buzzing, but in my third eye, I felt it. So there was a hybrid today, and we have to talk about our hybrid children. Many of you missed the show. I told you I was going to upload it again. I was having so many problems uploading the video, so why don't we get in this conversation again today? on Aquarius Rising. If you want to see that show, remember, just go to Aquarius Rising and just upload the last show I did on hybrids. Many of you, that show was not, I couldn't, it was messed up on YouTube. It wasn't that spooky though, because remember I told you Jose said it was because the Wi-Fi stuff I had so much equipment working, it was using all the megabytes or what have you. So, oh, Mandela, your blue doesn't work for you either, right? My dad wears a yellow. Okay, so I talked about the hybrid children and that many of us who are contactees and otherwise, not even just contactees, are having mock pregnancies, meaning that we feel like we're pregnant. One of our C-stars, 1+3, big up to my 1+3 homegirl. One of my homies was talking about a chemical pregnancy where she felt like she was pregnant, but then it never came to fruition. But I talked about the process of the hybriding. Now, they don't do it too much anymore, but many of us who are of interest genetically, O negatives, O positives, mostly, especially the heirloom hub bloodlines, not just O's, B's, it's everybody but their hybriding program, many of us were being impregnated and without our knowledge. And what happened is that generally before the time that the egg, it starts to develop, it splinters into different sections, it begins to feel together. We generally will get symptoms as a mother. Many of your moms, you already know this, or even gentlemen who've been married or have had children yourself, you know that your mate will have these symptoms previous to her even getting a test to find out if she was pregnant. So what they do, generally a lot of these ET groups, and not just ETs, when I say ETs, interterrestrials are hybriding with us as well. As many different groups. Interterrestrials are hybriding with us more often than we give credit to. Let me give a big up to the interterrestrials. The interterrestrials tend to hybrid with us more so than the galactics. The galactics tend to do it to those with the galactic bloodlines, but many of us are mixed with the interterrestrials, unbeknown to ourselves. So we get pregnant, we feel pregnant, and many of us who have been mothers before know the feeling of being pregnant. And then we prepare for the positive, the test. Some people are very happy, some are not too happy, depending on your scenario and your situation. And then all of a sudden, one day you get your menses and you say to yourself, what happened? I know I was pregnant. I remember myself going to the doctor saying, no, I know I'm pregnant. I don't care what the test says. I know I'm pregnant. And doctor says, no, you're not. I was like, I had all the symptoms. I had the dream. In our Creole culture, when you dream of fish, that in our culture, whoever dreams of fish generally is pregnancy. And that's how we know when people are pregnant. It's fact for our family, at least in our culture. A lot of us Creole people from particular island, Martinique and St. Lucia, we tend to know when people are pregnant, and it's a fact. It's been sourced out. Every time someone dreams of fish, someone's pregnant. Your bosoms, we call it tatas. Our tatas get very sensitive. Our nipples get a little harder. This is adults. Hopefully none of you are pervs on it. I can't with the bosom thing anymore. This is who I am. I'm not a small girl. I am chunky. I am a thickums. I am grateful for that. I am a nerd, a geek, a sci-fi nut, and I'm grateful for that. So please, just be mindful that we're talking about children here. So we know when we're about to get pregnant. So when they take these hybrids from us, because these hybrids are not just with our genetics, they're mixed with the genetics of whatever ET group is infiltrating or perpetuating their bloodline with us, or interterrestrial or interterrestrial, what have you. They take these children. Generally, these children grow up faster. Like the process of the embryonic state is short. It's a shorter span of time. That's when they take them out of our womb, we're having exasperated symptoms because the babies grow at a faster rate. It's not a normal rate of a human being who's having a human baby. These babies' gestational period is a lot quicker. So they get bigger in a shorter period of time. That's why when they take the baby out of you, it's at that true embryonic stage. That's why we're getting more exasperated symptoms, as if we're in our 3rd month of pregnancy, as opposed to just getting pregnant 2 or 3 weeks ago and going through the beginning of the gestational period as you would be pregnant. So what happens? The biggest question is what happens to these children. I heard someone say one time, oh, we have fun with our children. We go, no. whenever we have, to my knowledge, the hybrid children, and this is based on my intel as a contactee for years of having hybrid children myself, because many of you will have dreams about these children. You'll have dreams. I've told you on Aquarius Rising Ninth Gate, we've had a conversation. I had a dream that I was holding my baby in my arm. It was in a purple wrap, beautiful purple, like a velvet wrap for a baby, but the baby was not human at all. The baby had scales like a darkish green. I love this child. It looked a little like me too, but I had so much love like my little ones. I felt the love just like I feel for my daughters now. I felt it in my heart and spirit. And as I'm holding the baby, I don't know what took it from me. Something took it from me, and it took it now. That's why I say we're having children with some of the inner earth beings. Something took the child from me and brought it inside of a cave, inside of the deep, dark cave, and went into the inner earth. Now I know it's the inner earth. And don't you know, Flurboon doesn't play. When I love someone, something, my child, I will bat. And I'm highly claustrophobic. I went inside of that cave. There was no light or anything. I was going deep in the cave and little crevices crawling for my child, trying to get my baby in every way. I didn't care who I was going to encounter. I didn't care how dark it was. I'm just going to get my child. And for many of you who are on my Flurboon cipher, you also know that I talked about a child contacting me and talking to me, which I will say something happened with that. But those, I can't talk too openly about that because obviously we have more eyes on this, and there's eyes on cipher, but there's certain subscribers that may not be for the benefit of these children, as opposed to my cipher, who I choose to be on that site. Anyway, I did get contacted by one child that I thought to be mine, and it sourced out, and this was a hybrid child that was created and came from me. So our hybrid children are here. Now the issue is, many people say, why is it that we can't have hybrid, why can't we have contact with our hybrid children? Why is it that they're being taken? First of all, before we come into incarnation, before we reincarnated here, you volunteered from another galaxy, whatever you are. You could be a volunteer, like Dolores Cannon talks about, the volunteers that came here from other worlds and came in avatars, human avatars. You could be one of those. Or you could be a being that's reincarnated, that's made a higher agreement to give birth to some of these children that will occupy other worlds and live out and have that gene pool perpetuate on, maybe on Mars, maybe somewhere outside of this. It has to be somewhere with the same similar atmosphere, because a hybrid child has some of our human qualities, so it would have to be cohesive to our own genetics, how we would live as far as air is concerned, as far as atmosphere. So when we make these agreements, we also agree that there has to be some anonymity, that we may not have contact with these hybrid children based on the fact that our consciousness is so low and dense, and we're living amongst those in the matrix, and of course governmental agents that would perhaps endanger these children if they ever got a wind that you had children with these beings. And there are governmental agents who do find out about these hybrid children, or do capture some and do experiments on them and hold them captive. And like Dulce, New Mexico is one. Outside, Guam, I heard, is another base that they have hybrid children that they experiment on and keep on their facilities. I think there's another base in Vietnam, I know, had one. I'm not sure if it still does. I heard that was one. There's a couple places where they have these children and they keep them there if they capture them, if they get wind of them, or if they're hybriding. The government has made it a point to hybrid with you and your genetics by doing the process of semi-cloning and utilizing your genetics to hybrid with children in facilities, in my labs. And that's a whole nother conversation. But as far as the galactic children, the hybrids that are from the galactic families or interterrestrials, we are not allotted to interact with them based on the fact that we would infect them, and they are being held at a higher standard of safety than anything that we could ever give to them. Now, are there some people who visit their hybrid children? Absolutely. It's very rare. Most don't. And sometimes the children, when they get older, meaning that, let's say our gestational period takes, our baby takes about from conception to birth 10 months to be born. they have sometimes their gestational period of being from conception to birth is sometimes 3 to 4 months, sometimes 6 months. It depends on the type of breed of hybrid that your genetics has been mixed with. So when that's the case, these children go to full adulthood with their intelligence is usually much more heightened. Their sense of awareness, they're coming from breeds that don't have caps on their genetics, so that they have an understanding of concepts of metaphysics, of the earthly bound, the different realms, the different parallels, the different universes, interverses, what have you. We are kept away from them until there's a point in our consciousness, in our heightened awareness, that we become higher beings in ourselves. And generally, to my knowledge, it's rare that they do have contact with their parents. But there's been a couple of rogue children that we know personally. I've heard personally rogue children that go against the grain, that do want to meet their parents, that sometimes telepathically contact us, or they will show up on playgrounds, or they'll show up in odd places to see you and say hello to you and have contact with you, because they still have that level of connection with you. And they will meet you and you'll know it's yours. You'll feel that connection. You don't know what it is. They will have a similar look to you genetic wise. They will come here. And I've heard of other contactees saying, one said he met his daughter at the playground with his son. She came, she went to go play with his son. Now her intelligence was heightened, so she knew who she was. She went to go play with his son, and it was his sister, but she looked just like him. But they were playing together, and the child kept giving him looks and talking to him, in his mind, the father, telepathically saying, "I'm your daughter." And as soon as they get wind, the others who are taking care of these children, or wherever they're staying, as far as if they're on bases, galactic bases, motherships, interterrestrial, cities, they are held at there's a consequence for that. They are under quarantine until we raise our level of frequency, and they are not allowed to come here and have contact with us until our civilization has reached a level of heightened consciousness where we have the ability to interact with beings of heightened intelligence and heightened genetics, everything, what have you. But the interesting thing is that many of us sea stars, especially those, if you're on this transmission, or a father who's on this transmission, there's many men who have hybrid babies. And what happens with the men, they will generally sometimes have memories or have dreams about their children. The children will telepathically contact us through dreams a lot of times and talk to us. Now, there are other contactees who have a plethora, based in their bloodline, a plethora of children that they are hybrid with. They're perpetual seeders. There are some males. You'll see some contacts. Barry Place went on with some weird sexual pictures on Cypher. Big up to Barry. And it was we had a quite straight up conversation, because it was weird sexual pictures. You see his penis and like a thing, and them taking two like women with black eyes and big heads that are taking this man's semen, and you see all his hybrid children standing behind him. And what's interesting about that is that is also what is true. The males are utilized, their sperm is utilized, and a lot of times the sexual people will say that the sexual activity is different, in that whenever these beings are extracting semen, and this is mostly males, and this is from my intel, they will give the males a scenario, they will have a holographic sexual experience where they think that they're having sex with a female, and it'll usually be in like what's considered to be a dream-like state. It's a holographic experience, and as they're having sex with this being, they feel as if there's a feeling of nauseousness, but also euphoria. It's very confusing, because they feel like they should be nauseous, even though the person in front of them looks beautiful, looks like their dream girl. It feels good, but it makes their body repelled at the same time. And then as they're having an orgasm, the orgasm comes with a level of discomfort and pain, and with more heightened nauseousness. And why that is because that hologram usually sometimes they're not having sex with even a being. It's the process of taking the semen and they're giving them a holographic scenario as they're extracting their semen. So they think they're having it, but on a subconscious level, they're aware, subconsciously aware that these that something unnatural is happening to their body. So that's where the nauseousness comes. It's almost like your subconscious is aware and knows that something is unnatural happening, but your visual, your perception, and your conscious and your main consciousness is seeing this scenario playing out as just a regular sexual experience with a really hot woman, a very good-looking woman. And because of that, sometimes men feel violated afterwards, and they don't know why. Some men go through a stint of depression, or feeling like they don't want to engage with anyone sexually for a while because there's a level of interaction that's occurred against what they consider to be their will. Remember, no one's a victim here. We make higher contracts, and when we come here, we have very limited awareness, and we have a fog. What you consider to be your amnesia. You have an amnesia when you come here, so you're unaware that you made these higher contracts, and the amnesia is for your safety, because if many of these governmental systems knew who and what you are and that you were capable, or that your genetics was something that was desired by ET groups or interterrestrials, they too would be finding you out, and a lot of times they find us, and they too hybrid with us with any DNA that they have abstracted from any crash sites, any ETs, any dead bodies that they've actually kept the DNA. And that's where you get all these Dulce, New Mexico underground my labs, where they're doing horrific hybrid experiments on hybrid children and making them into half spider, half human, half ET, half snake. They're doing horrific, unnatural, beast-like experiments, and it's really disgusting. So all I have to say is I wanted to make everyone aware that many people are hybrid parents of hybrid children. And no, we do not have contact with them regularly because we are still under quarantine. If the rogue children find you, they're going against usually the consensus of wherever they are, the rules and regulations. We will only have full contact with our hybrid children when we reach a certain level in society where we surpassed a heightened sense of awareness, where we're no longer prejudiced. That's why all this complexion. Why do you think I go into getting us to a point of where we're not looking at each other's complexion as differences, that we start to accept each other based on frequency, not based on physicality, because many of us obsessed with physical, like, oh my god, she's Fleur Brune is brown, copper, I don't like the way she looks, I don't like the way her hair is, because my people were told she's awful. That's all limited consciousness, and it's very low frequency. And because many still suffer from that, based on the MK Ultra system, based on the perpetuation of racism and speciesism that is consistently played out on television, people consistent, and even if they don't know that they're prejudiced, you'll have people walk around all day, I don't see color. That's another part of the misnomer of subconscious speciesism or racism. You do see color. I see red glasses. How could you not see color? That's an absurd statement. When people say that they don't see color in other people, that's absurd. I like red flowers for a reason. I like pink flowers for a reason. You see them. Just say that maybe you don't feel negative with certain people based on color. Don't say you don't see color, because that's an absurd statement. It makes you seem like you are someone who's dealing with subconscious psychosis of racism or speciesism, what have you. So make sure that you're aware. That's why I'm saying heightened awareness allows people. Listen, I have idiosyncrasies all day. I tell you that. I come from French people, Creole people, very small. They come from very small islands. They have their own idiosyncrasies, and of course, they stamp that on my subconscious. And I had to overcome those issues, idiosyncrasies, thoughts, and patterns because of them. Not to their fault. That's what they learned, and that's what was perpetuated in their world. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not beyond issues with judgment. I've worked through a lot of them. I still have some issues with judgment. Like I was on Tila Tequila did a live last night. I have an issue with her. And Carrie, when I have issues with people, I have to learn to get over it. Like I have an issue with Tila Tequila now. I had an issue with her a while ago, but in my subconscious, she's probably a projection of myself in some way that I haven't dealt with. I have an issue with her, so I feel judgment with her. So yeah, yes, Maximus, I do too. But something bothers me, and I have to get over it. You know what I mean? So I tell you this all to say, I still have issues with things. I have an issue with women that like to be with people's husbands. I have these subconscious things, and that's what I'm saying. I have to learn to deal with my own self-awareness, see where these subconscious cues are coming from, and not judge. That's why I observe from a distance without judgment. I've trained myself to start to do that. I have to start to do that, or else I will pull in those frequencies and live out karma based on my perception, and pulling it in based on I have to deal with the shadow. And rather than deal with shadows, I want to just deal with it myself. I don't want the universe to have to give it to me. I want to give it to myself so I can deal with it, source it out, heal it, and move on. But back to the hybrid children. So I just want to be mindful, because there's people going around, and be careful with all these supposedly new people in the ET community that are saying things that are untrue. No, you are not allowed to go see your hybrid children consistently. That's not true. And that's a fact. Based on the studies that we've studied, myself and Barry Littleton, that is not something that's occurring normally. Only people who are allowed to see their hybrid children are people that probably have been mostly genetically modified themselves. They too are hybrids, and they've been groomed for that level of contact with those hybrid children of theirs. But generally, the general consensus is that most of us, due to the quarantine that they still have over us here, that people who are living in the matrix, you will not be allowed to be with your children. Now, are they safe? Many of the mothers want to know if their children are safe. For the majority of them, yes. Because remember, we are the ones who would make them unsafe based on our limited consciousness. We're kind of like cave people down here on Earth. Most people in the Matrix are cave people. They're savages. They kill things without thought. You've got people still going around hunting things and doing their own taxidermy, having heads of animals that don't eat them, that just have them for fun. You have people who pay $50,000. I know them. I know the most egregious wealthy people who pay $50,000 to go to Africa just so they can shoot, a mile away at a lion and kill it, or a giraffe who hurts nobody, and so they can bring it back home to the States. I mean, that's the kind of sickos we have here. We have people who molest children and animals, bestiality. We got necrophiliacs. We got people who if you look at them wrong, they punch you in your face. Who in their right mind would allow us in the galactic community to come and infect their world with our sickness in our minds? We can't even deal with people of different complexions who are the same species, supposedly. So why in the world would you think that you're going to have contact with wonderfully higher beings? Yes, they may come from you, and they're your hybrid children, but you wouldn't be a good role model based on the fact that if your consciousness hasn't reached a higher level of perception, you wouldn't be healthy for them. Not purposefully. It's not that you want to be sick, but you're living in a sick, mad world called the Matrix 101. So for that reason, we have to be mindful that yes, this is happening, and many of you are having chemical pregnancies, phantom pregnancies, and I want you to know that your children are fine. The hybrid children are protected for the most part. I can't say that much if they're taken by governmental officials, or if you're being used for a hybrid, or your genetic is being used for the hybrid programs in the My Labs. I can't really give you any safeguard with that. That's heartbreaking. I can't really say anything about that, because remember, those beings who are doing those experiments inside of those My Labs are animals. They're savages themselves. They're utilizing genetics, and they're doing things that are inhumane and unconsciously they're creating beings that can't sustain themselves naturally, because they're not natural. So no, I can't give any props or give any peace of mind with there, and I wish I could. But as far as the interterrestrials, now let me go on the interterrestrial hybrids that many of us are being bred with. There are extraterrestrials that are breeding, especially in Africa. Now, Africa is a hot spot for especially those women, because we talked about this before, and I think I talked about this. I've probably talked about this several times on Aquarius Rising Ninth Gate. Many of the women in Africa that are being kidnapped are not being kidnapped to be killed. Yes, there is an organ trafficking that's systemic for most brown people. People are taking their organs. And remember, I talked about these organs. I personally found out that most of these organs, we thought that people were taking them from Earth, but and this is my intel, that those organs that are being trafficked by brown people, copper people, indigenous people, are not being only taken for beings on Earth. They're being taken to the future by grays that have no more genetic integrity. So they're taking some of these organs to be able to sustain themselves in the future timelines that they ruin themselves because of all the garbage they're doing right now. The grays are just humans in the future. Many of the grays are humans in the future. So all that trafficking of melanin dominant organs, which are way more expensive than gold right now, is being taken not only for beings here. People thought that, but they're being taken from the grays to the future to try to fix their genetics that they ruined after all the radiation and stuff over the years. And that was the case. But back to that, many of the women in Sudan, Ethiopia, Yemen that are being kidnapped, they're not being kidnapped to kill. They're being kidnapped to be bred, because that genetics, those heirloom genetics, they're something that, remember, was here in Kemetic times and during the times of Sumer. They have the most integrity-ridden genetics, beautiful genetics, and they're being taken to be hybrid with. And many of the sheiks are all that. What you see is genocide going on in Africa by the sheiks, the Arabs. That's simply them killing off the male so that they can breed with these highly melanin dominant women to create babies. With most reptilians have a thing, like there's a particular interterrestrial beings, especially the reptilian sect, they have a thing for really dark brown women. They like to breed with them. That's their preference. So, and someone said that's not true, because someone was saying, oh, the consensus that brown women on the planet are the most unattractive women. That's not true. That's what the television promotes to you. But to be honest, the majority of women who are taken, kidnapped, and being sexually trafficked are all mostly 70 to 80% are brown women or Latino brown women. If they were the most unattractive, most unsexually stimulating beings on Earth, why are they the heightened ones, the majority of ones that are being sexually trafficked and being hybrid with? So that's not true. That's what television perpetrates, because they want to hide what they're doing. It's like smoke and mirrors. They'll show you one thing, but really they're doing something else. That's absolutely not true. So most of the beings and the interterrestrials are kidnapping and hybriding with a lot of these African women. That's why a lot of them are going missing, especially young girls in that pubescent, like post-pubescent age. They're purposefully taking them because they have the best genetics. I'm saying, when I say the best, they have the most integrity-ridden genetics that has not been altered, and it is easier to hybrid with beings with good integrity in their genetics than those of us who've been, tampered with, mixed with everything, genetically modified. Some of us are genetically modified. We're not even real humans, really, ourselves. So I'm just saying all this to say is that there is a hybrid program that is not really at its heightened state of being right now, but it has happened. There are hybrid children around. They do watch what we do, and they are allotted. What I heard is that they have, like how we have Project Looking Glass to be able to feel the future or certain timelines. I heard, and this is my intel from different sects of the ET community, not just one, that the hybrid children see us. They get a chance to see us through looking glasses. They watch us. They're allotted to see our lives. And when they're very, very young, some of us as mothers are allotted on those ships to breastfeed our children. That is a fact. They do like having, one thing about the hybrid programs, they do want some form of interaction as far as that when the children are very, very young. So some of us who have babies that are taken when we have the phantom pregnancies or chemical pregnancies, we're taking along the ships, some, and we breastfeed those children and have a level of closeness to them when they're very, very young. But when they get older, we're not allotted to have any, like I said, we would infect them with our sickness, with our judgment, with our lack of, our lack of consciousness. We wouldn't be healthy for them. That's why the ETs don't even want us on the ships. Someone said, oh, I'm going on the ships. That's not true. Physically, they don't want a lot of us on the ships. And when we do go on the ships, they put us through a disinfection lighting, like a violet or blue, to disinfect all the parasites off of us, because we have tons of parasites all over us from living here, and chemicals that would make them very sick. That's why they don't come down here. They send Greys to do their field work. The Greys are biobots, usually biological beings that were created to do all the work for them, so that they don't have to come and get sick. And the atmosphere is not is not cohesive for their species or the genetics. Like, some beings need much more carbon, or they need a little more nitrogen in the air to be able to breathe, and they don't breathe like we do. So that's what I'm saying, we're very different. So when people are telling you they're going on ships in their body, it's not true. Some of us do, some more than others. Some people visit their bodies outside of their bodies with their soul, the encasement of their spark, sometimes visits. But usually physical beings, that's generally not as common. You usually don't get taken on a ship with your body. Now, interterrestrials will take you down, but they do the disinfection as well. It's just a different kind of disinfection, and generally they don't do too often, because just the interterrestrial beings don't trust us either, because of our sicknesses and our lack of ability to be aware. That's what I'm saying. We have to become self-aware. I'm trying to be part of the galactic community, and I will do what's necessary to make sure that happens for myself and my little people. And I hope that that's what you're working on. If we show a level of empathy and sympathy for each other as humans, as earthlings, and we show compassion for other earthlings on this planet, and if we show that we can nurture Mother Tiamat, that we are good stewards to the planet, and that we have a level of higher consciousness as far as perception, then if a greater amount of us is able to do that, then that would be something that would allow us to eventually become part of the galactic community. But until we do that on a massive level, I see a lot of the progress. I see it myself. I see it every day. I see many people just, I get a lot more hellos than years ago. People saying, good day, how are you? I see people more invested in their health. And because they're much more healthy as far as what they put in their bodies, I see that they are able to be more less judgmental to others of other complexions or other genders or what have you. I think we have to get to that point where I have trouble helping every single solitary person. However, when I help, I expect nothing. That's right. Helping should come from the heart. Don't help anyone if you expect anything in return, Here is an interesting fact that came to my attention in regards to American Negroes. The Atlantic slave trade started in 1619. 2019 will be exactly 400 years. Maybe Deuteronomy 28 is being fulfilled. Listen, yes, listen. I personally think that I've told us, we've gone through cycles. Everybody has their moment and their shine to fame. Sometimes it is, remember, the women were here in the first cycle on this earth. It was only females. It was only female androgynous beings that existed here, that were here. Now, when that was accepted and other beings came here and started to do their hybrid programs, then they brought about different alternative forms of females. Then they brought the moon later, which lowered our frequency as females, because the moon is a satellite. It is a hollowed out satellite that was created to mind control people, because it messes with your ebb and flow. If you know that the moon controls the tides, and the majority of people on the planet are made of majority water. So that moon was a satellite to control, and also to help the gravitational pull of the planet. I think, the moon is the only, big up to Jah Vega. Jah Vega is one of those, I like to call him a Moor, but he's the original Moor. He was talking about the moon is actually, perfectly round, which is most planets are mostly oval. And it's the only thing that is in a specific distance from each planet. meaning that it is artificial. It's not natural. It's not a natural phenomenon. Nothing has that perfected cylindrical shape, especially if it's a planetoid. It would have something that's a little off or a little more natural based that would be created, more oval shaped. So big up to the Moors. Moors are, I get in I really don't get in issues with Moors. Moors are, historically sound. They're probably the ones who have the most resources as far as intel on history. They have a phenomenal amount of scholastic intel, which I do respect. I respect those who have a respect for historical facts, not the facts that have been changed because of new conquerors, but facts that have been sourced at as being integrity written from the past. Really respected. So as far as that's concerned, you have hybrids that are now, to my knowledge, the hybrid process has slowed down, and to my knowledge, we are all, listen, many of us are in 5D already. That's a fact. I will say that. Many, not all, 5D. When you're in 5D, you become heightened in awareness, meaning thoughts are things, your instant manifestation, your thoughts are creating your reality. Now you're seeing things as they are, as opposed to the illusion. That's why you're seeing everybody's spot being blown. If someone told you that they were holier than thou, all of a sudden you see that they're not. And it's not to make you dislike them, but it's meant to show you the truth, so that you don't have a disillusion in your head, an illusion of someone based on their projection that they're giving to you that's not true. So that's why in the age of Aquarius, everything's coming out of the galactic closet. Anything that people are holding back is coming out. So there will be no stone will be unturned at this point. That's why we're starting to see everything. That's what I'm saying. Live your real life. Come out of the galactic closet, my sea stars. Many of you still hiding from your Christian family. They too are getting this level of awareness and awakening. Why hide yourself? Come out of the galactic closet. We should have a come out of the closet day, where many of you come out and tell them that you're having hybrid children, that some of you go and visit your Mer family. Tell them that you're having contact with Greys. Tell them that you know about the Anunnaki and you feel like you're family and kin to them. Tell them that you think that you're telepathically talking to them and your family. I mean, why are we hiding ourselves anymore? This is what we did in our normality, in our normal state in ancient times. We actually digressed. In ancient times, we had way more connection to ourselves than we have now. I mean, the fog is real in the Matrix. It's not only just a genetically modified food, it's everything. It's the vaccines, it's everything that's kept you asleep. But in ancient times, you were seeing straight out draconians walking around. Why do you think you see them on the Mayan temples? Why do you think you see these beings on the hieroglyphs in Kemet? Because they weren't hiding then. They only started to hide when they wanted to keep things a secret. And then you've got all these secret societies that are no longer a secret anymore. All the secret societies are coming out of the closet too, because their spots are being blown. That's why you're seeing all these pedophiles and everybody being thrown out in public eye, because you know why? Like Bumbada was a big time pedophile. Allegedly, Bumbada was a big time pedophile. His spot was being blown. This was the man who stimulated the whole the quote unquote black movement. He was the one who brought hip hop to the forefront. This was the man who created the Zulu nation. His spot got blown. He was messing with little boys, raping them with his other homeboys. And all the homeboys who kept it a secret are just as much to blame. All of this is coming out of the closet. What's that guy who is just blown in Hollywood? I forgot his name. What's his name? Everybody's talking about him right now. Weinheiner, something like that. Whatever. His spot just got blown again as well. Now he's out in public eye. Listen, no stone, be yourself. There's no reason. Listen, this is Fleur Brune. I don't hide to you. I wear weird glasses. I was seeing because it was my dating season. I'm off season. I told you I go into go into mating season around spring, and it kind of slows down and fall, and then it falls off. But even I, who was seeing a Leo, the Leo, I didn't even tell you guys. Like, I was seeing a Leo, big up to the Leo. I still really like him. And I loved it, whatever, what have you. And then all of a sudden, he came to my house. That's what I'm saying. That's why I've decided not to date people outside of my galactic sea stars and sun stars. Sun stars. Freudian slip. Why is because I tried to be with people that were outside of our world to feel like normal. I really did, and I keep it real. But he came to my house one day. This is how real it is. That's why you have to come out of the galactic closet. I wasn't hiding myself. He knew what I did. He listened to the shows. He was enlightened. He came to my house one day and he saw something and it spooked him. And he ran and drove and nearly hit a tree. That's how real this life is with me. So I've decided he still wants to be a part of my world after seeing the madness. He saw something outside of my house and it spooked him. He was terrified and he almost drove and killed himself into a tree. That's a true story. And it's unfortunate. The Leo's okay. I still like him and he still likes me, but he's terrified. He thought I was just talking about this life. He thought I was just creating a platform for fun. He thought I wasn't about this life. But when he saw it for himself, he saw an entity at the door, and my mom is seeing stuff like that too. But my mom is my mom, so she knows this stuff. But he saw something at the door. He got spooked really bad. It scared him to stitches. He jumped in his car too fast, and he almost hit a tree. And that's why you need to come out of the galactic closet, because as you start coming heightened in awareness and start wearing red glasses, I know people are laughing. I mean, it seems crazy, but that's what happens when you get with people who are outside of your realm of your same frequency and consciousness. Here I'm talking to you guys about keeping it real, but then I'm trying to be with somebody who's outside of our realm of perspective and concept and frequency, and he nearly kills himself because I got friends and things around the house that he couldn't handle. And unfortunately, it flipped him out. So, we still talk. I don't think it'll work out. I don't want to scare anybody like that, because if he's scared about things outside my house, there's way more interesting things inside the house. So anyway, the struggle's real. And also, I live in a 13 house, so I've got all kinds of protection around the house too. If someone's intention is not well, they're not welcomed in the house. Like I said, vampires can't come in the house unless you invite them. And if somebody's intentions are not good or something's going on, they won't be able to enter your house. That's the way your house should be. Your home should be your sanctuary. So just keeping it real. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about the hybrid children. Yes, they exist. Many of our sea stars are having those symptoms of pregnancy. I want to let you know that you're not going crazy, that many of you are being chosen, and you've chosen yourselves. You volunteered for this prior to you coming here to have these beautiful, wonderful, and higher source beings. But at the same point, if you want to contact them, I would try to talk to them through telepathy. And they do see us. They do talk to us. Remember, one called the show that time on Aquarius Rising 9th Gate, my show. Remember, it said mama. It was struggling to talk. It was trying to talk to me through my third eye, but everybody heard it. It was amazing. And it was saying mama. It was a beautiful experience. That was one of my hybrid children that I found out later. It took a while because we didn't know what that was, to be honest. We didn't know if that was, we knew it was another being, but I realized that being was connected to me. It was one of my hybrid children that was attempting to contact me and was going against some of the rules and regulations, but they generally don't talk with their mouth. Generally, they only use telepathy. And yes, the autistic children are here. Those are a lot of those higher beings. They don't use their mouth. That we use our mouth is the lowest form of communication. It's really archaic. All higher beings use a level of telepathy to communicate. Most of them, not if all. But the majority of them don't use their mouths. We're very archaic. That's what I'm saying. We're cave beings. We're savages down here in the Matrix. Pure savages. Beating each other up, robbing each other, selling each other's children drugs, ready to, watching people like toys on the runways who don't eat a sandwich because they're scared to gain weight and be like Fleur Brune and be free. Eat a sandwich. No judgment. Listen, and that's what I'm saying. I joke about stuff like this, but I told you I had struggles myself. we have to get to a point where we can actually be with our star children. If you have star children, some of you are craving it. Some mothers, I've known mothers who feel sad because they feel that something's missing, and what it is their star children. And that's another thing we don't even talk about. Some women are suffering from having their children taken away because that's the type of beings they are, and they don't know what it is. They don't know why they're sad. They don't know why they feel like they've lost something. It's because their children have been taken, and they feel it on a subconscious level. They have an awareness of it, but there's nothing they can do about it, and that's really tragic as well. I think it's very interesting that we have to, I'm so grateful that we're getting to the point where we can even have this conversation. Oh, the rosy glasses. Remember, I was doing the blue cobalt. For anyone who stepped on here, I decided to do the rose-colored glasses because I had a friend who was wearing 3D glasses, walking around the world like a. he looked crazy. That people used to. I told him you can't walk around with the 3D glasses. So anyway, he was actually seeing things. So I tried the blue cobalt glasses. I tried the expensive ones and the cheaper ones, and I thought I saw something, and there was nothing. Zero. I will say to you, I don't know if it was the ones I bought. I thought I bought more of the integrity one. Peace, Poland is in the house. New Jersey's in the house. Yeah, I tried the expensive ones and so on, but then I got the rosé glasses yesterday. I ordered them from a company called Owl, which I heard from another ET person, because owls are, grays like to hide themselves, hologram themselves as owls or deers. So I got them, and as soon as I put it on, I felt different. I felt it. But it does mess with your perception, like the rosy colored glasses concept, you get it? And then I saw a hybrid child. What I think, I have to say think because I can't confirm it. I have to source that out. What I think was a hybrid child in Whole Foods. And I followed him a little bit. Like I said, I don't want to be a creeper as a person. I'm a mother, so I wouldn't want someone doing that to my child. And then I thought I saw an antenna in its head, and it moved. And there's no breeze in Whole Foods. It's like a little piece of hair up here, and it moved. It moved like to the side like that a little bit. So, I personally think he was a hybrid of some sort. And I thought it was interesting that he looked at me, and my third eye I got a like buzzing in my head, but then my third eye kind of pulsated. So it was interesting. But the glasses are working, and I feel like I can feel auras. I don't feel like I see them. I feel like I feel them. These glasses make you feel, whereas I think the blue cobalt, that's why I think the combination is why he was seeing things. Because I think the cobalt makes you see things, but I think the red ones make you feel things. It's almost like the combination of purple. That's it. I'm gonna get the purple glasses. I'm already kidding. Welcome to Aquarius. Welcome to Flurber's world. I just got it. You know how we do the purple? It's, blue and red or purple. He does the blue and red separately because one makes you see and the other one makes you feel. Now you're supposed to put them together. Now I'm gonna have to order. You see, this is. Anybody want to date someone like me? I'm gonna order another pair of glasses that are purple now. You see, Lynn, I gotta get a grip. Yes, I gotta get a grip. That's why John Lennon was wearing the different glasses. Now I know. John Lennon, I tell you there's something to that. I'm going to find a story. If anybody finds a story on why he was wearing, I know he had interesting eyes, but if anyone finds a story on why John Lennon wore the different colored glasses, I think there was a reason for it. I really do. So I'm just saying I need purple. Purple, right, Jessica? I'm going to go get purple glass. See, I'm going to buy, oh, wait. I'm going to get it from, I'm going to get it from the same place, Owl. I'm going to order the glasses from Owl. Rainbow. I had the rainbow one too, New Age, but it didn't do anything. You know what I mean? The yellow, I have yellow. My eyes are green. Ooh, that must look cool with your green eyes. Purple, not pink. I'm going to see if I can get the purple ones from the same company, because these work. I have to be the PR person. No, I'm not getting a kickback for the sanctuary for this. I should. But these work. Whatever, and I give you a headache because you could feel it. So this one you feel, the blue one you're supposed to see, I'm going to do the combination. I'm going to do purple ones. I'm going to see if Owl sells the purple ones, and then I'll tell you how it is. Okay? And for someone talking about the autistic children, I personally think that they're definitely starseeds. I think a lot of these babies are starseeds, and they just communicate differently than other children. And I think it's beautiful. A lot of them have their own gifts. If you notice, a lot of them have really good gifts in, like, if they do one thing, they do something really, really intensely, like mathematically, or looking at symbols and figuring it out. They're just, they're really gifted a lot of times. So I find it very interesting. A lot of these children are being diagnosed with autism, but there's something deeper and more profound about their condition. That's a condition here in the lower matrix, but really it's something that means there are higher beings. So big ups to the moms who actually have autistic children and are, working through the matrix to try to, assist them and make their world a lot more conducive. So anyway, I'm sorry, I got offered lots of money to help more kids, but I need to be. All right, so for those who want to decide to meet up with their hybrid children, I would say, because we're still in quarantine, they're not going to allow you to see your hybrid children like that. And you should understand that as a parent. If you're a parent or not a parent, some of you may not even parent and have hybrid children, I would just say try to connect with them telepathically. If you feel that they're there, say it in your mind and try to connect with them that way. They can hear you. They will know that you're, they will feel that connection. They will be able to maybe, communicate. That's what we're supposed to practice our telepathy a little better. We have to try to create higher forms of communication to be able to contact those children. And they're here. I literally, they see what we do. And like I said, there are rogue children that will come occasionally to see a parent, but there's a consequence to them doing that. They're not supposed to visit us. We're not supposed to have contact with them because it would be for their own safety and for our own peace of mind. We won't have that level of contact until we get our civilization is able to be part of the galactic family. Once we become part of the galactic community, all the hybrid children will be able to my knowledge, I heard, all the hybrid children will be able to connect with their bloodlines, their families. And that will be beautiful. Just imagine. But just imagine some of you yourselves, think about this in a way, you have some children that are sitting on the mothership right above you, right up there, that are looking and hearing you right now, that are watching over you, because they do watch over you. And that's beautiful in itself. Sometimes we want the physical contact so much, or the solidification that they exist, but it's just beautiful to know that they are able to at least have a level of connection, even if we don't know it. You know what I mean? So, on a conscious level, just more on a subconscious level. So I hope this was helpful. Again, if you want to hear the show where we talk to mothers, a couple people about hybriding, the hybrid process, you can always go to Aquarius Rizing Ninth Gate on Blog Talk. My Blog Talk. I'll put the link there again. Always go. The shows are interesting. The call-ins are phenomenal. I mean, the show is all the call-ins. The call-ins really share a high amount of intel. And I don't know everything, but there's certain things that I do have a lot of intel based on the fact that I'm about this life. I'm out the galactic closet. So I've talked to people over a number of years. I've read a lot of resources. I've sourced with a lot of beings that are contactees or that are even, what people would consider to be not contactees, but abductees, which is a rarity. But I've talked to people who are considered to be abductees. I've talked to people who've dealt with the My Lab, including myself. So, with that kind of intel, you can kind of source out, you can kind of use your discernment to kind of see what information is more relative and relevant. And it's cool to be able to have that sort of, intel amongst people, like-minded people. And it actually helps you to keep your sanity, because if you stay in the galactic closet, you will feel insane, because you will continuously be hiding from beings of lower frequency and lower vibration. Why are you hiding from beings that can't conceptualize life in space? Now, if they're still to that point where they don't think life exists in space, or they consider that, oh yeah, I see UFOs, but don't consider that there must be beings. If you're seeing UFOs, there must be beings driving and controlling those UFOs. Some beings, some people only can say, oh yes, there's life, or they'll say yes, there's UFOs. But then when you start to talk about, well, who are the beings that are piloting those UFOs, they can't. That is too much for them to conceptualize. So as you come out of the galactic closet, you will start to meet others like ourselves, and it will keep you really, really sane in an insane world with savages. I'm being honest. And as you raise up in frequency, and whenever you're with like-minded people, it raises your frequency. That's why you got to be mindful to keep your world within the realm of those who are more like you than because someone, I don't want to say lower, but limited in frequency and vibration will hamper yours. Birds of a feather flock together. My mother used to say that, and I hated when she said it, but it's so true. Or the Christians who say people should be together who are evenly yoked. I didn't get that until later as well. So, just be mindful, people, places, and things. Keep people around you of the same and similar vibration or higher, and it will raise your level of perception and conception, so that you don't have to always battle people over stuff like, Christianity or Muslim beliefs or, stoic religious beliefs that keep them limited. You know what I mean? Not to say, and believe me, we've talked about this before. I'm not criticizing people of religions. I just know that those who are very, very strong into religion tend to have a very stoic, flexible. They're very stoic and non-flexible, meaning it's hard for them to perceive of anything past that cap of religion. You know what I mean? So, religious people are fine. I think if we didn't have religion, we'd have more murders. I will say that. Some people, we have to have a level of religion to keep people from hurting other people. Because I tell you, if we didn't have some people in the church or in the mosques or in the temples, you'd have a lot more murder. The murder rate would be higher, and we'd have a lot more devastation. So big up to churches and the mosques and the temples, because some people need it. That's what their consciousness needs to keep them, from harming others. I'm just saying, somebody said, oh, we don't need, yes, we do. Not everybody's here is the same. We need religion to keep those. It's like we need prison systems to keep some prisoners in jail. You need some religions to keep people sane or from harming other people. So let it be. This is my opinion. Anyway, so family, I'm gone. I just wanted to talk about the hybrid children. Again, check out the show on Blog Talk. It was a really interesting show. We had a fun time talking about it. You get a lot of intel from the other sea stars and sun stars. It's not all about my experiences. It's about us collectively bringing all the experiences together, and then we source the truth. Because like pieces of the puzzle, I don't know everything. My contact with beings is so different and so alike. See, it's so crazy. My contact is so different sometimes, but so alike to someone else that it's so individually based. So that's why it's good for us to get together and have these conversations. And I've created a platform where we can talk without people calling us all kinds of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. The same people who call us cuckoo are the same people doing dramatically awful things to their own peers, judging people, vaccinating children, raping, pillaging, robbing, killing animals. Those are the same people who judge us and call us cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But they think we're crazy for wanting to bring harmony to the planet. Anyway, so I'm going to rock out my rose. These are giving me headaches, so you can't wear them. So anyone who gets the rose glasses from Owl, be careful with these, because it makes me a little dizzy, because you do feel things. So, just be mindful of these. I like that they work. But now it's time to get the purple ones. only I. Anyway, I love you, and I will talk to you later. Have a wonderful day. And if you want to, like I said, if you want to contact your hybrid children, work with the telepathy first. That's the only way that they'll be able to communicate for us for the most part until the quarantine is over. When the quarantine is over, means our society, and we're in 5D. Many of us are in 5D already. When the quarantine is over, we'll know, because we'll be at a heightened state of awareness. This conversation won't even be needed. You know what I mean? You'll just know it. All right? So peace, family. Have a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you later.